Hello creative people, it's a new video. This time I'm gonna sketch together with you some pen and ink portraits. If you want to join me, I leave you the link to my Pinterest board so you can find the references I'm gonna use today. The aim is to finish this sketchbook here. It's from 2 years ago. I'm not using that often. I still have a couple of pages, so I think it's a good idea to practice. This kind of portraits are gonna be without any pencil, so I cannot erase. This is a big challenge that you can put yourself. You can always put some kind of constraints to your drawing exercise. This would drastically help your practice and push you to improve somehow. Here is another rainy Sunday. What better way to use such a day than not drawing? This one on SMLT art is what I done. A spread full of this kind of portraits. No pencil, no eraser, only pen and a light watercolor wash. So I really love this sketchbook and how they came out. Today, as I said, I'm gonna work on this one. So let's see the tools I'm gonna use. As for pens, I have this ink waterproof pens. I recently discovered that these Uniball eye pens are waterproof, and I really like how the ink flow. I have two in the black fine and broad tip or medium tip, and I have the blue broad tip. I recently bought these ones in the gray and brown color. I had the black one. It's the Pentel brush sign pen artist with a very thin line. I'm gonna use also this graphic 2 Sakura. It's a pen that simulates a bit the stylographic pen with this broad and squared tip. For watercolor, I will use this very limited palette from Schmal. It's 3 colors: shadow gray, ultramarine intense, and ginger red. Having a limited palette is also useful in such exercises. Then some spray to activate, and a portable brush, some water, and a small palette. Let's go. Big news for the channel. I'm gonna open the channel membership, and if you wanna join, you will have access to specific content such as the full length video, 1 hour and 20 minutes of drawing of this tutorial, and more. More on that soon. So let's start with the first portrait. I'm gonna start with a female portrait. I'm not gonna use the Loomis method as it is normally because it needs to have a sphere, and that means that if you are using a pen, most likely you cannot cancel, you cannot erase anything. And what happens normally, I draw some kind of mustache under the nose because of this sphere, and this is quite ugly in the end. So my approach here is more direct. I try to visualize the out shape and then slowly try to place the main features of the face, so the nose and the mouth and the eyes, with a very light mark of the pen in the very beginning of the face. Once everything is in place, then I can make some more gesture marks like this one, because already everything is in the right position, and I can be more sure about what I'm doing. So this is just to say that I prefer to use the Loomis method only with pencils and not with something that I cannot erase. So now that the portrait is in the final stage, I can put highlights and define the details on the portrait. For this first one, I used the Uniball eye black fine and medium tip, while for the second one I'm gonna use the Pentel brush pen in the brown version. This one is also a famous character from a movie, so it is not a simple whatever reference from Pinterest. I challenge you to discover who is this guy and tell me in the comments if you recognize him. If you are from the 80s or the 90s, most likely you watched in TV a lot. Little tip. So as you see, you can reach very fine details with this pen, and I'm gonna define the position of the mouth right now and the eyes. Then in the eye socket first, you see now I've just realized that the head was too thin. This is happening often to me actually, and doesn't matter. I can overlay the marks I used. I don't care. In the end, I'm gonna highlight more the one that are more important, so the final marks, and those are gonna disappear. As you will see, it's not gonna be very important, very visible in the very end. So be aware that these Pentel brush pens are not really waterproof. They are slightly waterproof, but if you go on top, you need to be very light, otherwise they're gonna reactivate the ink and make a mess. And this is what I will do in the end of this video, most likely. New portrait, new brush pen. This one is a gray version, and I'm gonna challenge myself this time with an even more difficult position of the head. This head indeed is from the bottom view. If you have this view, or you have the top view, for example, everything is not gonna be intuitive anymore in your portraits. But you can see right now the top head that I thought was the top is not the top anymore, and I'm gonna add more lines. So I'm gonna try indeed to reuse the lines that I put before that and that I realized that they are wrong in another way. Sometimes I try and I successfully improve them and include them in the new portrait. Sometimes I cannot do it because they are simply in the wrong position, but I keep going. And in this case, I'm always trying to compare the height of the ears with the position of the nose and the eyes. Every time you need to compare the height of the different things. In this case, specifically, the nose length is shorter than normal, the chin is longer and bigger than normal because of the bottom view. Again, once everything is in place, I can use stronger marks to define some accent and some character in the drawing. The fourth portrait and the last one for this page is again a female one, and I'm gonna use a uniball pen, but this time the broad tip blue color. Again, I choose a bottom view, this time not 3/4, but a little bit more frontal. And again, I have the same issues as before. So this is quite challenging for me. You will see me making a kind of wrong decisions in the beginning and then slowly adjust the portrait till I reach a decent result. You can notice that most of the time I make ghost marks, so I tried to repeatedly fake the mark before actually doing it. This helped me to make a better mark in the very end, and also be more straight with my marks and more intentional. When I'm happy with the hair, I finally make some hatching on top with straight lines. And also I take advantage of the negative space of the hair to readjust the features, the chin, the ears of the woman. Once I'm happy with the composition and the colors of the first page, it's time to go to the second one. This time I'm gonna use the Sakura graphic pen. This one has a quite broad tip. Indeed, I will later on need a more detailed pen for details. This guy has quite a lot of hair, so I'm gonna start with the mass of the hair and define then the distance of the chin from the top of the head and the ears position. With the help of the wider part of the pen tip, I can make some shadows under the chin with one single mark. That's what made it quite versatile of this pen. Alternatively, you could use the parallel pen. I don't have it, but in the end I think the features are similar. Once I'm happy with the final result of this portrait, I switch to a new one, this time again an old man with a brush pen in brown color. The fine tip of this pen helps me to make all the little wrinkles in the face of this guy. There is so much to draw in a face of an older person that makes so much more interesting. That's one of these lifted Pinterest perfect models. When it comes to the hair, I try to define and individuate the main lines of the shape of the hair. And always remember, you can use the negative space of the hair to correct some mistakes you have done or make some special effects on the final portrait. What I like of drawing portraits is that in the end each one has a different story, and I try to imagine in my mind what could be the story of this guy and what connect his story to the other one in the page. Last details on the skin and on the jumper of the guy, and then this one is done. And we go to the last portrait of this session. This time I use the ink pen, and I'm gonna help myself with the black hair of the girl with a bigger brush, also from Pentel. I try to individuate again the position of the ears as main point of reference for the whole face, and then individuate the eye sockets first. Again, I underestimate the dimension of the whole face, but no problem, I will expand the chin slightly and it's not gonna be very visible in the end. This ink brush pen has a broader tip and the ink is very much reactivatable with water, so I'm gonna make a little mess up later, most likely, when I'm gonna paint it. But doesn't matter, it looks so blacky, and yeah, I love the contrast of white and black, simply. So this is the second and last page left of this sketchbook. I finish it. And by the way, if you want to see the sketchbook tour, tell me in the comments, comment with sketchbook tour, and I'm gonna make in the next videos. So it's time to paint a little bit. I'm gonna use the Roman Schmal watercolor. These three colors, I'm gonna reactivate them with some water and spray a slightly bit of water on the sketchbook as well. Not too much, because I don't want to reactivate those inks that I can reactivate, but still I want to have some more fluidity in my brush strokes, let's say. I start with skin with a orange color I have on the palette, place them in the light position, and then I'm gonna use the blue one for the shadows. So here is the terrible mistake. I'm reactivating the ink very badly. Try to solve it with somehow putting some extra color on the cheeks of the girl, but still she will look a little bit like a zombie in the final stage. No pain, no gain, right? So I'm gonna use this cold color to define the shadows on the face and mix them on the hair as well with the other color, the I also reactivate slightly the ink here, but I'm gonna let it dry slightly and then try to remark a little bit those marks that are lost. Trying with some red accent to bring some life back to the girl, and then it's time for the first page I draw. Lesson learned, I try to not reactivate the ink here because I like these paintings so much that I don't want to ruin. So actually I will just add some little accent here and there to make the page more alive, and then I will call it done. To finalize and wrap up all the work, I want to mix a bit the color in the middle of the page and make some continuity, and that's it, ready to go. again, if you want to watch this drawing tutorial, every single mark, 1 hour 20 minutes drawing, you can watch it in the membership of the YouTube channel. If you enjoyed this video, I suggest you to watch this one next, and I thank you for watching. Please subscribe the channel if you haven't. This will help me so much, and I see you in the next video. Thank you guys, bye.